Hey, Josh Teague, Running T Farms. Morning cattle move here. I thought, as promised, I would give a little product review here of our PensAgro wire lifter. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about it here. It should be raising the wire up here in just a little bit, and we will see if we can watch these cattle come through into their first sale of the day. So PensAgro wire lifter, I purchased it from American Grazing Land Services. You can Google that up. They're a great resource for grazers. They sell everything to do with grazing, just about, especially polywire reels, step-in posts, all that type of stuff. Great resource. It's I think a business Jim Garish actually started. Oh, so there you can see it's raising up. And it will give a few tones. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it's beeping. It's my experience with it has been that it has worked flawlessly. As you can see here, since I'm filming, there they go. So the cattle have been slower to train than I expected. The wire lifters has worked flawlessly. It's taken about 3 weeks, or I can't remember when I put the first video there on now. I've been using these for every move of the day during this training process, just to get these cattle used to listening for that tone and moving under the fence. And I'd say we're about 90% there. They moved all on their own yesterday, every single move, all 4 moves with the wire lifter, without me having to call them or anything like that. To start with, we had to actually take a piece of poly wire and kind of corral them with it to make them walk under that wire. Our cattle have gotten, they're so broke to poly wire and electric fence that they just wouldn't walk under it. So it took several days of that. Then I got to where I could actually call them after the wire was raised, and they would move on. But now they pretty well move. They've learned to listen to that tone. They've got over their fear of walking under that wire. And I know a lot of people have said, well, what are you training them to do here? You're training them to just go under your poly wire when you don't want them to, and that's not been the case. We have not had that happen, but we do keep our fence hot. This fence probably 9,000 volts on it. I do have it turned off right now just for the moment. But I'll go over here and talk just a little bit about the lifter and the setup itself. So like I said, I'll get you a close-up here. Maybe that's a PensAgro wire lifter. So just got a stainless steel kind of a pigtail here, and a ring that keeps it tethered to this post that allows it to work up and down. You can set this thing to raise automatically at a predetermined time. You can actually set it to close. I think it has 2 settings. You can program it to raise and then lower at a predetermined time, and then you can program it to raise again. And the way the closing time works, it's just a set time. So you can set it to raise at 1 o'clock, and then 30 minutes later it'll close. And I believe I read that the close time will be the same for both opening times, and it's just a 30-minute or a 15-minute or a 1 hour after it's raised type of deal. You can also program it out to 4 days. So like if you was just moving once a day, you could set one up and have it raise at 8 o'clock this morning. You could have another one that would raise at 8 o'clock the following morning, one that would raise at 8 o'clock, or any time that you would program it, out to 96 hours. So you could set up essentially 4 days worth of cattle moves with these openers, with one setting. You could set them to do out to 4 days out. So another thing, this pole is electrified to keep the cows from rubbing on it. If you'll see down here at the bottom, it has some type of a carbon or something that connects, actually keeps the connection from this metal pole from going in the ground. So doesn't short your fence out, obviously, but it does keep the cattle from rubbing on here and knocking your wire lifter off. And this pole, if I can get it pulled out of the ground here, I'll show you. It comes with the wire lifter, and it's got a big spike, very stable, very easy to press into the ground. So that's my, and as far as the setup, it's extremely easy to set up. There's only 3 buttons on it. Let me get it turned around here and I'll scroll through the screen for you maybe. So you got a little display screen. When you touch it there, pops up and tells you what time it is. The battery's okay. It is solar powered lithium battery. So it gives you the time. You can see I had it set to open the first time at 7 a.m. I did not have it set to open a second time. I did not have it set to close. So I had those features off. And yes, I want to do it today. If not, I could go out. See, there's plus 24 hours, plus 48 hours, plus 72 hours, plus 96 hours, and then we're back to today. So that's the feature I was telling you. You could set it to go out to up to 4 days. So all in all, I cannot recommend this product enough. If I can get it put back on, and that just sets on top of the pole, by the way, because it has to have the ability to swivel as it there's just an electric motor. I'll run it down here, and you do have to manually, if you don't have it set to close, you do have to manually press the button and run the that hook mechanism down. And I didn't put it back around the pole. That ring should just drop over the pole. So it tethers it to the pole and it electrifies that pole to keep the cattle from rubbing on it. But you do have to manually run that down when you set your fence. If it's already up, you know, obviously it can't pick up again. Or you can set it to close if you was wanting to, and if it's set to close, it'll open itself again. But I don't use it for that. Ideally, I wouldn't have it opening this first move. What I want to do on our 4 moves per day is I want to move them myself in the morning, because I have to move their water anyway. And then I like to observe my cattle at the last move of the day. If for some reason their gut feel is not where I want it to be, I need to remedy that right then and go ahead and give them an extra break of grass. So occasionally, if you was wanting to go out and eat, it would be a great thing. You could set it up and move it, you know, that last move of the day. If you was wanting to leave, move the last 2 days, once your cattle are good and broke and you have confidence that they're going to move when the wire lifters raise, you know, that's fine. On a everyday basis, you need to be, if you're grazing at high stock density. I did a little math, had a guy ask me a question at what density these cattle are grazing at right now. So these cattle are 688,000 pounds per acre for 4 moves a day. So they're at that density all day in the grazing cell. So we do just advance forward 4 of these breaks a day. They do have access to the prior grazed paddocks. They might do some loafing, lounging, and they do have access to shade over there at that tree line that they'll be able to go back to. So, but as you can see, as soon as that lifter moves, they will come in here and they will graze this off. You know, we shoot to graze all the forage that we can 95%, of the forage we won't utilize. We want the cow to eat that. We want that to go through the cow and then be deposited back with manure and urine. So we'll move 4 times a day. I will probably go ahead today and use these wire lifters all day today because I'm going to be here, because I think my cattle are about 90% trained. There has been a time or two here in the last day when I came out here, the lifter was raised. I figure what happened, they were over in the shade and maybe it raised and they didn't hear the beep, and they come out here and they just didn't associate or realize that that the wire had raised and they were standing there. As soon as I walked up and just gave them one little call, they immediately came right under the wire. So I'm still a little bit in the training process. I think we're about 90% there. So I'll go ahead and I'm just going to move this lifter over. This is the 10 o'clock move here already set up. I just have 2 of them. So I've already got my next brakes set up there. You can see those reels. What I'll do is just actually carry that polywire lifter over there, set it, program it for the 1 o'clock move. And then I'll come back out here about 1:15 or something and make sure that these girls have moved. A little training tip, I think you need to not, in the beginning, you need to try to be here as soon as it beeps so that you can get them to associate that. I have figured out that sometimes I believe they wait to hear my John Deere Gator coming, and they're kind of associating me with the move. So I've been waiting about 15 minutes or so, trying to not be here personally when they made the tone, when they raised the wire and beeped, because I want the cattle to associate that with time to move, and not hearing me come on the gator or me personally being here. And it seems to be working. My cattle are we're just a little bit slower to train than I anticipated. I figured in a week's time I'd have them broke to these things and everything would be gravy, but it's taken 3 weeks going on a month here, but we've about got it. Well worth the effort, such a time saver. You can get your stock density up, and you don't have to be there to do it. Of course, it's technology. I'm not advocating anybody set up a month or set up 4 days worth of these things, close their eyes and don't come check their cattle. That's not what it's about. I still put my eyes on these cattle twice a day at minimum, in the morning and in the evening. We want to make sure they got water, and very importantly, that last move of the day, we want to make sure that these cattle are good and full, and we have allotted them enough forage to meet their needs. So you might notice some of them, that girl there's belly's pretty full. That one there just a little bit sunk in this morning, but we like to see that just a little bit. I don't want them to look like they're hollowed out first move, but we like them hungry and ready to graze aggressively and get in here and graze. And we will make sure that they are nice and full and fed at that last move of the day. We basically want them full when they go out of that 3rd move into the 4th move. If I would come out here and for whatever reason going into that 4th move, the cattle were empty, they just, it was for whatever reason, there's a lot of variations. Maybe there wasn't as much forage in the break as I estimated. Maybe it was extremely hot that day. They didn't graze well, but they fouled it a little worse or something. We'll just go ahead and give them a whole nother break because we have to keep these cattle fed. We have to keep acceptable condition on them. And so that's what we do. Occasionally it happens, not too much, that we misjudge. When you start in on a new sward of forage, that's maybe less forage in the stand than where you've been previously grazing, it might take 3 or 4 days to sort of get the square footage that's needed. You just have to adjust every move every day, and you'll find that sweet spot. And then if the forage growth, like right now on this, we're not getting any growth here. This is just pretty much like stockpiled forage at this point. So it simplifies this part of the move. We've got our square footage worked out that keeps these girls fed, so it's just a matter of rationing this out. We've been really dry. This is a predominantly cool season pasture, so all this forage is just basically standing here. So that simplifies things a little bit. So I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. Overall, product review on the PensAgro wire lifters available through American Grazing Lands. I would give them 5 stars, 3-year warranty. They've worked flawlessly. Highly recommend you check with American Grazing Lands if you're interested in trying to get your stock density up, do a better job grazing, and you have limited time, you're working off farm. You can use these as a tool to help you do that, and so far they've worked flawlessly. So as always, you can check us out online at runningtbeef.com. You can like us on Facebook at Running T Beef. If you're watching on YouTube, please click that like and subscribe button on the way out if you like what we're doing. And everybody have a great weekend.